The European Medicines Agency has announced that there is a possible link between the AstraZeneca vaccine and blood clotting. The drugs regulator described the clotting condition as a very rare side effect and said that the adverse reactions will be investigated further. But they had this message for people thinking about refusing an AstraZeneca shot.
The benefits of the AstraZeneca vaccine in preventing COVID-19 overall outweigh the risks of side effects. This vaccine has proven to be highly effective. It prevents severe disease and hospitalisation, and it is saving lives. Vaccination is extremely important in helping us in the fight against COVID-19, and we need to use the vaccines we have to protect us from the devastating effects.
Well, Britain's medicines regulator also changed its guidance on the AstraZeneca vaccine today. They have advised people under 30 to use a different drug where possible. And the British Prime Minister says the vaccine programme will continue.
I think the crucial thing on this is to listen to what the scientists and the doctors, medical experts have to say. The MHRA is meeting, the JCVI, the Joint Committee on Vaccination and Immunisation, is meeting. They'll be setting out the position, and we will get on with rolling out the vaccine. Obviously, we'll follow very carefully what they have to say. I think everybody should listen carefully to what they have to say. So will we. But we'll get on with rolling out the vaccine programme. And to answer your question absolutely directly, I don't think that anything I have seen leads me to suppose that we will have to change the roadmap or deviate from the roadmap in any way.
Now, let's look at the science behind this, if we can. Lawrence S. Young is a virologist and professor of molecular oncology at Warwick University's Medical School. He's talking to us from near the UK's second biggest city, Birmingham. Welcome to DW. So what we've heard from the EMA is a possible link between the AstraZeneca drug and these rare blood clotting disorders. We kind of knew that before. That's where we were before. We thought there was a link, and now they're saying there's a possible link. Can you explain to us how we have moved closer to knowing that there is a link between taking this and potentially getting this condition?
Yeah, well, this is just mounting evidence, really, that there is an increased association between the AstraZeneca vaccine and these rare blood clots. What we don't know for sure is whether that is causal. So you just have to get more data. And what you've got is a very, 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 very rare side effect. But evidence is slowly but surely firming up across Europe and the UK. And the possibility is becoming stronger all the while that there is an association, albeit very, very rare.
They theorise that this could be an immune response to the vaccination. Could you explain that to us, please?
Yeah, because it's a very strange form, and that's what a form of clotting, and that's what makes it a bit odd, because what you're seeing is increased blood clotting, but the cells that actually are responsible for supporting blood clots are lower. So you've got this low platelet count, and that's sometimes associated with an immune response. So sometimes your body can mount a bizarre, very rare immune response against the platelets themselves, your own blood cells. And this is what makes this a bit peculiar and a bit suspicious, because it looks like there is an immune response going on in a few individuals that precipitates and leads to this rare form of clotting. And what we don't know is, are there any other risk factors associated with that? But I think it's because of the rarity of this very specific form of blood clotting that makes us really suspicious, and that there is something to do with an abnormal response to the vaccine, or possibly to people who've been vaccinated who then go on very soon after vaccination to get COVID,
right,
because we know COVID itself is associated with blood clotting. And this is the type of thing you can only sort out when you've got larger numbers, and the numbers of cases at the moment are far too small. Okay. So what this is all about is just being very cautious.
Today, we also heard from the UK's vaccine advisory body and their medical regulators. They've seemed to have gone a step further by saying it's preferable for people under 30 to have an alternative to the AstraZeneca vaccine. What's behind that?
They've looked very carefully at the data and the balance of risk And so what they've looked at for every age group is the balance of risk of getting this very rare form of blood clotting against the risk of getting severe disease and hospitalization. And what you find is the balance of risk is more favorable for older people, because we know older people are much more susceptible to the severe consequences of COVID, and younger people actually, this is, are relatively protected, and when they get COVID, they don't tend to get as sick, and certainly the death rate in younger people is much lower. So they've come to a conclusion because of that risk-benefit analysis, if you like, that it's probably safer to protect the under 30s from the possible consequences of this AstraZeneca vaccine and provide them, when we come round to vaccinating that group, with an alternative vaccine.
Thank you so much for that explanation. Professor Lawrence S. Young from the University of Warwick.